made over $3 million, alhamdulillah, selling courses. Now, when I left university where I was studying law and I realized I do not want to pursue a career in the legal profession, I was confused. What am I going to do to make money? I realized that I had a few skills that would be very valuable. So I monetized those skills by teaching people those exact same skills. And I'm going to teach you today, inshallah ta'ala, by the end of today, if you want to teach a course online, but you don't know what your skill is, you don't know where your value is, I'm going to show you how to identify that value inside of yourself, which hopefully you can monetize towards a 7-figure course, inshallah ta'ala. And in case you're wondering who I am your brother, Imran ibn Mansur. I am a student of knowledge. I give da'wah, and I also am an entrepreneur who sells courses online. And I currently help brothers who are course creators and coaches scale their courses online to 7 figures plus in revenue by teaching them my 7 steps to 7 figures. And if you wait all the way to the end, I'm going to show you how you can gain access to that type of knowledge so you can do the exact same. I promise if you watch this video, you won't be disappointed. You have my word. With that said, let's begin. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. So, everyone wants to make a course that they can sell to scale to 7 figures plus, Abu Bakr. But what they want to know is, what should I teach? What should I make a course about? And by the way, just to give you context, this question doesn't just come from a guy who's just, I haven't seen this question come from a guy who's like, I just want to make money and I have no other way. And I just want the course to be the first thing that I sell. No, I've seen this question being asked to me by people that are extremely successful. I will never forget the day we were sitting on a table. And I think in terms of like just the money that was being managed on that table, it was $2 billion plus, right? One brother had a fund of 1.2 billion that he managed himself, Allah Mubarak. And he was like, bro, you guys have blown my mind with regards to the whole course thing. I want to set up my own course. And it's because everyone sees the ability to scale. They see the profit margins. They and because they know that they have the authority in a particular space, right? If they were to sell that course, they've got the credentials to back it up, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just like, he was like, but who would buy my course? Like, I can imagine the only people that would be interested are guys that like want to use it for haram, like bankers and like people that are involved in riba. And I laughed and I was like, bro, you definitely have a skill that you can monetize. And possibly we'll talk a bit more about that particular brother's story in a second, inshallah ta'ala. But this is a question that, like I call it this imposter syndrome. And maybe it's not imposter syndrome, but
I would say it's not necessarily.
Sometimes it is.
Sometimes it is. A lot of the time it's just ignorance of yourself. Lack of self-awareness. Like to answer your question, in short, anything. You can literally make a course on absolutely anything, and people will be willing to pay for it if they see the value behind it.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example, like just sitting here right now. So we're in a podcast studio. If they were to set up a course on how to set up a podcast studio, because no doubt there's going to be people out there that are going to want to set up a podcast studio. That's one. A course I was looking into recently was just to do with like mental resilience, but I'm talking about another level. Like, you know, a special forces type of mental resilience, right? And the lifestyle that goes with that.
The cold plunge got to you.
The cold plunge. No, it was before the cold plunge. Before the reason why I even came to the cold plunge was because of that. I was really heavily looking into this. And
that's the only reason I go cold plunge as well. Like,
it's just, bro, like I want to be able to know that in any given situation, my mind is going to be on it. Like no matter what happens. So I was looking into this and I did a lot of research into this. I was actually looking for a course and I found a guy, but he did coaching, but he didn't have a course on it. But I'm still looking. It could be literally like whatever you could think of. If you manage to, for example, as a Paki, curry munching Paki, you manage to get into the best physical shape of your life while still eating curry, that's a course right there and people are willing to pay it. There's Pakis out there that, bro, I want to get fit and healthy and strong, but the curries are killing me, bro. But bro, there's a way to do the curry and this and this and this. Anything that you've done in your life, that you've achieved, even as benign as it might seem to you, there are other people that want that same result. Whether it's losing weight, whether it's becoming more productive, whether it's just dealing with your family members, how to deal with family members, how to deal with Pakistani culture. Wallahi, if someone did a course on that, people would buy it because, bro, they're struggling.
How to deal with Pakistani culture.
How to deal with, as a practicing Salafi brother, how to deal with Pakistani culture.
You could do that in the context of dawah, in the context of marriage, in the context of indoors.
Just like so much.
There's
pressure.
So much.
How to be a middle child.
Wow.
Bro, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize it. You go through things in life
How to prosper as a middle
time.
child.
how to prosper as a middle child, how to stand out as a middle child, how to not be forgotten as a middle child.
And you don't understand.
I was the eldest, so I can't really.
I'm saying
relate to that.
The issue is what you said is the lack of self awareness, and is like we become so habituated to the skills that Allah has given us. We forget that there are people that would there are people that pay a lot of money for that.
And the reason why we've become so habituated to it is because we've become consumers. We've become programmed to be consumers. So we just consume from other people. But not once do we ever think, what if I became a producer? What if I became a merchant? What if I was the one that other people were consuming from? Because you don't let that thought even come into your mind. In your mind, you've already written yourself off. I'm a loser. I'm a waste man. I'm this. I don't have anything to give. I don't have any value. Akhi, trust me. You will find what you're looking for if you look in the right places.
And do you know one of the things that kind of proves that you could do a course on anything is that there's a book on anything.
Yeah.
Right? If a book was written on a topic, Maji, you could create a course on it. Do you understand? Yeah. So look, I've got a couple prompts because we can say that people are still gonna be confused, right? Like that gives them hope. But I'm gonna give them some actionable prompts. So I've got some prompts that questions that I ask brothers, and by the end of these questions, someone's got a course. Someone's got an idea for a course, right? And if after these 5 you still don't have a course, then I'm going to give you some advice. I'm going to give you some real life slap, right? It's going to wake you up, inshallah ta'ala. And that's still going to help you get a course, inshallah ta'ala. Inshallah. And by the way, out of all of these prompts, I'm going to tell you the one that I'm going to tell you the one that I use. I'm going to save that for the end. What I believe was the most valuable prompt for me personally. I'm going to save that for the end. So look, the first prompt is just to ask, what are you good at that others would pay you for?
Driving cars fast. As you want me to just name things?
You can, but as in that's the prompt, right? So people can ask that for themselves. So you can do it.
Maths, driving cars fast. Yeah. Talking to people, talking on camera.
Yeah. Right. So point being is that there's so much, and someone might say, but someone else is already doing it. It's about niching. That's about marketing. It's about branding. It's about packaging yourself in a different way. It's not a problem. That's a separate video, a separate skill. We can go into that. But point being is that's not a reason to not do it, right? Now, the imposter syndrome comes in here because how good do you need to be? That's a question. And the thing is, you only have to be about 2 levels above everyone else. If you're 1 or 2 levels above everyone else,
what's a level?
In terms of skill. Now, of course, it's a bit hard to measure like to the degree. But someone who goes to the gym, right, and has lost X amount of weight, right, is obviously a few levels above the guy who hasn't, right? So you've got a degree of proficiency above everyone else, and you don't have to be a master. I feel like people think you have to be an expert. Yeah. You don't have to be an expert to the course. You don't have to be a master. You just have to be a couple of degrees. Okay, deen is different. If you want to teach the deen, then you've got to have a degree of expertise. Right? But in terms of this stuff, no. As long as you stay within your lane and you teach what you know and you just say, this is what I did. And this is the key, by the way. This is the key.
For me.
Because people, this is how you get out of all of the madness. What qualification do you have? What certification do you have? I'm just teaching what I did. Take it or leave it. I'm just teaching what I did. I'm just going to literally tell you what I did. That's it. I'm not claiming to be an expert, but I'm saying I achieved this and this is what I did. And if you find value in it, here you go. And people actually prefer that because they're like, okay, cool. So he wasn't an expert and he did it. That's actually more valuable. It shows that I can do it and I'm not an expert as well. So the thing is, you have to be 1 or 2 levels above. Brother Abid, wallah, he had extreme imposter syndrome. You know, the other day he said to me, I think I just overcame my imposter syndrome. He said, I just overcame it.
What's funny is I identified it at the Fursan accelerator that we did.
Yeah, he had it big time.
So clear there and then.
So now, alhamdulillah, he's realized that, you know what, I'm actually can do this because he's teaching a course. He's seeing the value. He's seeing his students benefiting. They're getting work. They're getting contracts. They're making money. They're learning from him, right? In the videography space, Brother Abid, just so you know, he's a brother who teaches videographers how to create content for clients that actually converts and makes their clients money, right? So point being is that you just have to be 1 or 2 levels above. What are you good at? What are you 1 or 2 levels above everyone else? Pardon the interruption, but in case you ever wanted to move to Dubai, I've got something very special for you. As you may be aware, myself and Abu Bakr moved to Dubai and Sharjah last year. It was one of the best decisions that we ever made for our deen, our families, and our businesses. Living here is amazing. You've got a masjid in almost every single street, unparalleled safety and security. You've got lessons from mashayikh and different teachers and students of knowledge in English and Arabic, and no income tax. Now, how do you move here? That's a question that you might be asking. Well, it can be tough if you don't know your way around things. Sometimes the companies that help you get visas here, they got hidden fees, long waits, big problems, resulting in visa rejections, a lot of wasted money and time. This is where Ansar Consultants comes into play. They helped us set up everything. No hidden fees, no long waits. They kept it simple and honest. I got my visa in less than a month. And these guys have a 100% track record helping brothers get their visa so far. 100% track record. That's insane. Allah Mabarak. Now, if you're thinking of moving to the UAE, I recommend Ansar Consultants. They can even help you invest in properties here with a 100% Sharia compliant contract. So if you want a smooth move like we did, click the link below and check out Ansar Consultants. Now, back to the podcast. Okay, cool. Second prompt, right? What is a skill that you already have, right? That people pay you for. So the first question, what are you good at? You notice the questions come and answer the same thing, but the prompts get you to think in a different way. So what is a skill that you already have that you're good at? And by the way, what I want you to do is I want you to focus on the skills that are indirect here. Because, like, for example, let's just say you're a data analyst. What's your skill?
Analyzing data.
But is that the only skill that you have? What we don't realize is that
using Excel, using spreadsheets,
right,
using software.
Right. Akhi, wallahi, if there was a course
understanding numbers
on how to sell, on how to learn Excel sheets, I would have paid for it. Like I recently, when I started to just pat my finances, I was like, bro, I actually need to learn. Like you said it, you were like, bro, basic Excel literacy is so important, right? And it just hit me, and I'm like, it actually is. Like I need that, right? So you could be a data analyst, but your skill is in Excel. So what I want people to understand here is that skills are stacked, right? There's no, I don't know of any one skill that's standalone, right? That you can bring about results from. Sorry, I don't know anything where results can be brought about from just one skill and nothing else. Everything is a combination, like even language. It comes like in order to give a speech, you need to know how to listen and read and write. You need to know how to like. There's so many skills that come together to form the speech, right? Or that are prerequisites before the speech has even been made. So point being is that you stack skills, right? If you're a CFO of a company, like the other day we met that brother, right? Who manages a 1.2 billion fund for investors. And he was like, bro, who's gonna pay for me? Pay to learn my skill, except for people that want to just invest in riba and things like that, right? And I said, Akhi, your skill is not just managing investment funds. Like surely there's a stack of skills that you stacked before you got to this skill. And then since you've got this skill, there's skills that you've stacked above and beyond that you're not even aware of. For example, as like one of the things that you know how to do is you know how to deal with high net worth individuals.
Ultra high net worth.
Ultra high net worth, right? So I said, bro, you could like as in sort of networking. All right? Or like how to present yourself towards them. Like I don't know your space, right? But only if you was to sit down and dissect, you could put something together. So I'll tell you a story. So there's a friend that we have, right? Legend, Allah Barik, yeah? So he has a tech company, right? I won't mention what the tech company is because Allah Barik, he's about to do something big and blow and I'm going to have him as a guest to tell the story himself. This is a tech company, right? Now in this tech company, Allah Barik, so they create an app. They create an app that helps solve a problem in a very specific industry, right? But Allah Barik, he needed to get some big clients for this to be important, for this to work, for this to be lucrative. So he had to get 10 of the biggest families here to give him the contract. Say, we're gonna use your software, right? But now he needed money to fulfill and execute those contracts. So he needed to get what? Funding. He needed to get funding, right? So yesterday I was having breakfast with him and he was telling me the story of how he got the contracts and how he's getting the funding. So I said, bro, how did you get those contracts? Like, how did you get these? He got to the CEOs of those families, like the heads in terms of the business department.
Businesses.
So he's like, bro, so here's what you do, right? He goes, you have to understand the game. He's taught himself this stuff. Just trial and error, because we were talking about market. So he's like, my game's cold calling. He's like, I'm a cold caller. And he goes, when I get on the phone, trust me, I get on the phone to the guy. He goes, I know that I need this contract. And who's the decision maker? The CEO, right? Of that particular massive, multi-billion conglomerate company, right? He's like, I need the CEO, I need the head. No one else is going to give the decision like he will, right? I have to get to him. How do I get to him? There's no way. He goes, so when I call, he goes, I learned a hack. The hack is, can you put me to the PA's office? The PA of the CEO's office, right? He goes, that actually people do.
Yeah.
Because that's such a specific request. Most people assume
that there's a reason.
There's a reason for it, right? Yeah. But the PA is still going to block you, by the way. The PA is still going to block you, but they'll put you through. And he's like, even then when you call, he goes, you got to finesse the person that picks up the phone call, and you got to make it seem like you already know, right? So he goes, the way I do it, he goes like, let's just say his name's Muhammad, yeah, for argument's sake, it says Muhammad. He's like, Assalamu alaikum, it's Muhammad. Please, put me to Khalid's PA. Khalid's CEO. Yeah. So he's like, the way I do it is, yes, sure, sir. And he's like, bro, then I ask a very important question. He goes, and I ask this question literally just before she connects me. What's the PA's name again? Sorry. But he goes, if you ask that before, they'll clock that you don't know who the person is. But they already, yes, sir, and I'm connecting you now. And just quickly, what's the name? So he goes, let's just say, for example, she says Josephine. Right, that's the example that he gives. I'm just going to use the example that he gave, right? He's not free mixing with girls, please. He's just trying to get through, right? So he goes, Josephine. So he goes, so then Josephine answers the phone. Hey, Josephine, how are things? This is so-and-so. He goes, now Josephine thinks...
He's panicking, oh no, I forgot this
I
important
forgot who he
is. And...
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? I forgot who he is. So she has to play the part of... Because this could be someone massive who's a family member of the CEO and he gets sacked. Yeah. So he's like, so then what I'll do is I'll be like, is Khalid in the office right now? And then Josephine's like, yes, he is. And it's what he says. He doesn't say, can you get him on the phone to me? He says, I've got a message for him. Could you pass it to him? Let him know that I have solved the problem of his competitors. And I've already got their contracts. And I'm saving them a lot of money and I'm making them a lot of money as well. And I'd like to do the same for him. And he mentions what the problem is. He says, can you give him that message? And she's like, yes, of course. He says, Josephine, can you do me a favor? Can you go and tell him now when I'm on the phone? Can you just go and let him know now? And I promise you, you're going to thank me and he's going to thank me. It's the way he says it, right? He goes, then she'll go. And next thing you know, Mr. Muhammad, I'm connecting you to the CEO's office now. And he jumps on the phone to the guy. And then, look, I don't want to make this too long.
Sales pitch
right? And he's like, the way I do it, like he even worked that out. So this brother knows.
Had to cold call the top dons.
The top dons. Imagine you did a course like if you ask him, he's got a tech startup in a very niche industry, right? What can I teach? Bro, you could teach this. You could teach this. Cold calling to get on the phone to the CEO, and he could and he's so good at it. Not just that. This is the last thing I'll stop at now to show you how you can stack, how these skills stack, and how you can teach so many different things, right? And it's not necessarily the direct skill, but the indirect skill. So he currently he's been trying to get funding, right? And the VC game is not what it used to be, right? That's what a lot of VCs tell me, and people who are looking to get funded recently tell me, right? Like
VC, for those that don't know, stands for venture capitalists.
Venture capitalists. But we're talking to people that already know, right?
Okay.
Right. Sure. So bootstrap, i.e. you self-fund, right? Up until a certain point when you need to scale and you may not be able to, you need that big injection, you get funding from elsewhere. So he's been trying to get funding, and recently, he got the approval because his business idea is alarm barak. It's up there. He's already got the contracts from these companies. He just needs the money to execute, and then boom, right? So, but they don't give you money until you're already doing a certain level. So they said, we'll give you a conditional offer. We'll give you $500,000 in funds, but you just need to execute some of these contracts yourself. And he's like, bro, I can't execute the contracts without the money though. So they're like, once you've done that, we'll get back to you. So he had hit a dead end. Because he took his company to the highest level to the point where he needs that funding now. Do you understand? So he said, Imran, I was thinking, how can I get that $500,000, bro? And he knows a bunch of venture capitalists, like the other brother who manages 120 fund. He said the reason why that brother didn't give him the money was because when there's a fund and there's 4 people managing it, they need consensus before they can give the funding. So he was like, look, they didn't all agree to it, even though that particular brother wanted to give him the money, right? So he was like, I was just thinking, how do I do this? How do I do this? Because I was in the shower and Allah gave me ilham, Allah inspired me. He said, I realized I'm going to go to every single person I know and ask them for $1,000. So he started having meetings with everyone and he's giving them the pitch. And he sent me the pitch deck as well. He's actually sick. Like, one of his advisors is Statim Humble. He's got religious advisors, he's got business advisors. He's already got some guys that have invested pre-seed and whatnot. So he's his thing proper, right? So it's like, I give him the pitch and he goes, and you know what, $1,000, especially in his circle, it's not a lot of money, right? He's like, some people I'm going to, bro, you know what they're doing? They're getting offended, saying, I'm going to give you 10. Right? He's like, what do you mean 10? And especially because he's like, what I did, he was like, I didn't realize it's about the human condition. He goes, but if you make someone think that you're going to ask for a big number, but ask for a small number, it makes a smaller number seem, which is generally big, seem even smaller. I said, bro, it's called the contrast principle. I couldn't talk this if you sat out to talk money. Do you understand? So he's like, wow, I only just discovered this recently. So Allah, and then he's like, this is such a better way to do things. You know why? Because, he goes, people who are investing are invested. So they're like, I've given you 5K, 2K, 3K. I know another guy's going to give you 5K, 2K, 3K. So they're then connecting him to people. He's like, I've already got 250,000, right? Of which 50 is already in the account. The rest is in transit, right? It's being transferred. So I was like, bro, that's a course you need to teach. I said, teach a course on how to crowdfund for your tech startup, right? I said, you make more money from the startup itself. Do you understand? So my point being, and the reason I went through this elaborate kind of story here is for you to see that there are skills that you stack over time, and the course, maybe you can't teach a course on like how to code a tech app, but you can teach how to get $500,000 in crowdfunding from your people, right? Or how to chat to the like. There are so many different skills that you stack. One of those could be a course. That was my point.
So what do you say now to the brother who's watching this, despite everything that we said? And he's still sat there like, but Imran, I don't have a skill.
So then I would ask you another question. I will ask you another prompt. And this is the prompt that I hold very near and dear to my heart. Is what problem have you solved for yourself in your life? Okay, every course I ever taught was a problem that Allah has given you the tawfiq to solve. For example, I always found it hard to study, right? And I didn't know it was because I was dyslexic, right? But I always persevered with the permission of Allah through certain mental frameworks and certain things that I would do. So I taught a course called How to Smash Your Exams, especially when I started seeking Islamic knowledge. It was hard because I'm trying to learn a whole different thing in a different language, in Arabic and so on and so forth. So then when I clocked it, I said, well, let me teach you guys how to smash your exams. Like, let a dyslexic guy teach you. And people were going up 2-3 grade boundaries, from C's to A's, from B's to A's, right? From E's to B's. And I've got the proof, I've got the receipts for that, right? So I solved that problem for myself, then I taught someone else. When I left Jahiliyyah, I went through heartbreak. So then I used to teach people how to overcome heartbreak. And I remember I was sitting with Guled once, and I used to do this for free. I was like, bro, I could teach a course, I could do consultation. So I started charge people £70 an hour to do a coaching session where I'd help them overcome the heartbreak of this girl, right? And then I said, let's create a course called Recovery from Heartbreak. And then when I learned Islamic knowledge myself, and I learned the basics of the deen, I solved that problem for myself. I said, well, let me solve it for someone else. We started Muslim Survival Guide. And the only reason we charged for that was because people pay attention when they pay, and also because we needed to fund the da'wah, right? It became a non-for-profit at the end. And then we set up a normal company for ourselves, and then we were like, okay, let's teach other people how to set up a normal company, right? We learned how to scale past 6 figures. Then we taught Operation 6 Figures. We learned how to perfect certain areas of manhood for us as Muslims. We taught Free on Men. And we scaled our courses to 7 figures plus, $3 million plus altogether, right? Over the last, over past years. And guess what? That's a problem I solved for myself. And now I can teach you an advanced level how to solve that for yourself. And that's why we've got the 7 steps to 7 figures in the Righteous and Rich School, in which we're going to be teaching that. So ask yourself, what problem did you have that you solved for yourself? Do you understand? What problem is it that you had that you solved for yourself? And if after all of that, you still say, Imran, I don't have a skill, and you say, I do not have a problem that I can say I've solved for myself, because you actually have just been that absolute joke man who sat on his buttocks playing friggin', what's that game that these kids play? Fortnite. For the last bloody how many years? And the only thing you know, right, is how to hold in, a fart. I don't know why that
could be a serious course though, you know that?
Because you just, you're playing and your auntie's around, you don't want to get up and move. Point is, I don't know why that example came to my mind, but something low, that's all you know. Then I'm going to say it's time for you to
learn.
Not just learn. I'll make it a bit more specific. Identify a pain that you have in your life, a problem that you have, and start solving it. It's as simple as that.
Become productive and then teach people how you became productive.
Not just teach, document that process for a year. Let people see, okay, you know what? I'm broke. I don't know anything. I have no direction in life. Okay, I'm going to find direction in life, inshallah ta'ala. Document that journey. People will watch you for a year, solve that problem with Allah's permission, and then after a year, all the people that watch your journey say, now I'm going to teach you how to do the same. You just have to be 1 or 2 levels above. Find the pain, find the problem, start fixing it. You'll naturally acquire skills and learn skills and stack skills to be able to do that, right? And document at the exact same time so you have traffic and leads that are already there on the day when you launch. Bang.
And with that said, we have an epic event for Muslim entrepreneurs. It's going to be the biggest, inshallah ta'ala, online event for Muslim entrepreneurs in the history of Muslim entrepreneurs. And that's a promise, inshallah. And in this event, I'm going to be sharing with you my 7 steps to 7 figures. And I cannot stress enough that this will not be some, waffle and airy type of content. I'm going to give you 7 foundational, fundamental mechanisms to scale your courses or your coaching services to 7 figures, inshallah ta'ala. I've done it with Allah Azza wa Jalla's permission and His aid. Bakr's done it. We've done it. We have a team that's done it. All halal without haram. And I'm going to share it with you. At this event on the 23rd of this month, go and secure your spot at the link below now. Save the date. If you miss, I promise to make you regret. I promise to make you regret if you miss. And I don't want to make you regret because I love you. So with that said, Assalamu alaikum, peace.